It is December 2nd, and this month I hit 2 years on testosterone. Um, I haven't had much for physical changes in the past year, I would say. Um, Almost all of the changes were pretty immediate, and then some of them were a little gradual. Um, a couple of the things that did seem to happen this year was the darkening of my beard hairs so that it looks much fuller because there's so much less blonde, like strawberry blonde see-through hair, and now it's a lot more of it is the red color, so it looks like there's more of it. Um, and then my hairline receded into the corners just slightly, but not really by much. Like these two corners right here, they just got ever so slightly further back, but I always had a squared hairline or whatever anyway. Um, Testosterone wise, haven't had a ton of changes this year, but I did get top surgery, and that's something. And a change this year I was not expecting is first of all, my surgery officially has a date, and it is not until February 17th. So it is a long way away compared to when it was supposed to be and when I thought it would be instead. It is a lot. And I have cried about it and been upset about it and gotten to where I just sort of have to deal with it. I tried to ask if it can be sooner or if there's any way I can get it sooner, and that was just not happening. Um, so yeah, that's where I'm at with that. It's been hard for me for sure. The whole thing. I just want to go back to my actual surgery team. My surgical team for everything else has been really accommodating and kind and well performing and all that kind of stuff. And this woman who has to temporarily do this one surgery is just, it's not so great. Um, that I have to have the surgery in order to have the other ones, and there's no way around it. My surgeon doesn't do the surgery, so it is what it is. It's just, it makes me upset if I think about it too long, too hard, so I try not to. Because it's just taken so many years for me to build up the strength to build some sort of a trust system with a doctor in the first place, and I felt like I was making real progress with that, and then this one surgeon has to walk in and remind me so vehemently that doctors are people, and people come in many varieties, and some of them are nicer people than others. And some of them genuinely believe being nice is like a bad thing. Which brings me to the next thing that I did not expect. Um, Found out this week that it is highly likely that my trans support group is going to not continue. And I've been in that trans group since before I started testosterone. I had a friend who helped me get into it. That friend no longer is my friend. They decided they hate me when stuff with my divorce happened. They took and like villainized me or whatever. So, um, yeah, that's a pity. But the support group itself, it's in like a lull, which happens where there's a little less activity, and that happens like in any group that lasts years. But for some reason, quite a few of the younger members have it's almost like they're transferring their upsetness about real world things to being in the space, and it's supposed to be a nurturing and supportive and, friendly space where we can come together and be kind to each other and patient with each other and, you know, be safe together and be like together, a community together, and treat each other well. And they are turning it into like a very aggressive and combative situation and treating it like, because it's not what they ideally want, that everything needs to be like torn apart and built again or something. I don't know. The way it's been being run isn't like sustainable for forever, and that's fine. Everyone across the board agrees that changes need to be made to essentially it's done in a non-profit, and the non-profit has a board of directors, and almost none of the board members do anything, like anything. So it all falls onto the shoulders of one person, basically, who actually cares. Um, and that's not sustainable. And that person is like burnt out, and is like, I need to take a step back. And they're like, oh, you can't take a step back because it's in a lull and it's gonna die. Everything's gonna die. And they're like, we need to hold an election and vote you out and vote someone else in, because if you don't do stuff that we demand, then everyone should just leave. And it's like, first of all, this person's burnt out. Like, they have no capacity to deal with all of this. And you're basically going to someone who's already not doing well and expecting more from them, which is contrary to being productive. Like, that's a hindrance toward the goals that everyone shares. It's not helpful. The other thing is basically, when we were supposed to do our last support group, they wouldn't let it happen, and they were extremely like aggressive about it, and then acting like they were proud of that, and acting like people who wanted things to be where we are kinder to each other in the way we say things, that those people were the bad ones and that they were the good ones. And they were like, all of you guys are full of toxic positivity, and you're full of gaslighting and goalpost changing. And it's like, everyone agrees changes need to happen. So we're all like in it together. Like, no one is an enemy here. And yet they flat out said that they're not allies with the people who don't want changes to be immediate. Like, I was like, this is bad timing. It's the holidays. Why can't we wait? And they're like, you sound like a loyalist during revolutionary times. That's literally what they said to me. And I'm like, this is secondary to someone who needs to take some space for their personal health. Like, they're setting a boundary and we need to respect it. And they're like, no, they're weaponizing their mental illness. And I'm like, I feel like they've heard a bunch of buzzwords and they're just throwing them out there and think that it means things that it doesn't mean. Like saying, yeah, everything is not perfect, and yeah, changes need to happen. Realistically, those changes probably are going to take some time, and we need to be patient about it and just be kind to each other in the meantime. That's not toxic positivity. That's not thinking everything is a catastrophe. That's accepting the reality of the situation, but also having hope for the future. But they're like, they literally equated the situation to being on par with the civil rights movement, and that they had to fight for change and force change. And I thought about it afterwards, and it was like they were, I don't know, it was like an angry mob where you can't reason with people once they've gotten to a point of feeling like self-righteous and frustrated. And admittedly, there are reasons for some frustration. That's I'm not trying to dismiss that or negate that in any way. But it's like they feel like this support group is somehow Amazon, and the one guy barely holding himself together is like trying to union bust, and they need to go get their picket signs and protest and like create like a giant struggle when it's not like that at all. But because they've gone and done this, he's like, I can't handle it. And he's literally the only one who's been holding it together at all. So now he has to talk to a lawyer and see if he can transfer the entire charity into someone else's hands so that he can step away because he desperately needs to step away. And instead of him being able to just take a couple months off and everybody just be a community, because in reality, the charity is a facilitator, but the community should be us treating each other well. But they don't feel that way. They feel like if the organization doesn't have their name on it, then there's no point. I don't understand that. And I told them, if you're not happy here, you should be somewhere you are happy. But they're like, no, we want to mold this into our vision. And they're just basically like taking it over. So a lot of people who are my friends and stuff have already left. And the person who is having like the burnout and the mental distress and everything, and just genuinely struggling to hold it together and have any energy, and also is desperately looking for a job in real life, like does not have time for this nonsense that people are shoving down their throat. Like none of this is okay. Like it's not okay that the organization got left in the hands of one person, and it's not okay that people are making that one person the scapegoat for why there's problems with it. Like the organization definitely has flaws that need to be addressed, and no one is denying that. But they are acting like there's a giant argument about it, and that people who say anything contrary to what they're saying are somehow like an enemy. And I said at one point, you know, it's just a different mindset, it's just a different belief system. You believe things are more doom and gloom, and other people believe that changes are already happening. And those changes take time. And realistically, this is like a legal charity. Like, I'm sure there's legal stuff involved that I know nothing about, and the average person knows nothing about. And they're like, we'll deal with that. And if a meteor falls, we'll deal with that too. They like act like they're very exaggeratory, I feel like. But at the same time, they're so passionately aggressive. And if they say something and you say, okay, I recognize what you're saying, but don't like have enough of a reaction to it, they get really riled up and furious that you didn't respond in the way that they wanted you to, and they try to force you to, they're outright bullies. And it's really startling to me because we're like LGBT plus. We have like very little support systems in our real lives. And we're supposed to come together in a support group and become like a support system with each other. And instead, like, things are being torn asunder. And that's not good. Like, there's enough of that from the rest of the world. The non-acceptance and the bullying and the aggression and, like, all of that stuff is just not healthy in a place that's supposed to be a supportive place. Like, it's just not. And then on top of that, there's this misconception that this disorganization in some of the leadership of an organization is somehow on par with the civil rights movement, and that they have to go and like make protests and stuff, like demand reparations. That was one of the things they were demanding, was reparations. And I'm like, what? Like it doesn't make sense. It's like taking it way too far. It's an exaggerated response. It's unwarranted, and it's there so hard. And so it's sad because I have like made friends and I would like to be able to stay in contact with them and stuff, but at the same time, there's no way around that there's now a group of people who feel that way. And because I feel differently than them, they've added me to the hit list or whatever of people they want out. And they're going to like reshape the whole thing. And I don't see how they're not going to just like run it into the ground. But it already was in a lull, so they're just going to blame it on that. Like it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. They thought, oh, it's going to die, and so they're actively trying to kill it so that they're right. It's like they care more about being right than they care about actually the point of it, which is to help people and treat each other well. Like being kind to each other is so important. Bringing up that something needs to change or improve or get better is a totally healthy and good thing to do. But you can do it in a way where you are treating other people with dignity and you are treating other people with respect. And that's just not happening. And on the one hand, my support group has only ever been online. I do not live locally where it is centered at. But on the other hand, like, it's the trans support group I've been in for so long, and it's very daunting, not just to lose friends and to lose like this really consistent thing that I could expect. I mean, we had support group on Wednesdays, you know. What's my Wednesday gonna be now? I don't know. And there's also that it's daunting that now I'm gonna have to try to meet new people and find a group that A is taking anyone new, you know, that isn't full, and B that isn't full of just kids. I feel like almost all trans support groups anymore are for like, you know, 24 and under. Like if you aren't essentially a teenager or in your early 20s, there's very little support. And there's lots of trans people who do not fall into that bracket. And I am very glad that there is support for young people. I wish there had been support for young people when I was that age. But that doesn't change that there also needs to be support for people who aren't that age. And I feel like the only people that it seems like a lot of places want to invest in are the young people because the young people have like their whole lives ahead of them and potential and all this stuff. But they're not the only ones who need support and need a sense of community and need that kind of help. And my girlfriend wants me to find one that's local so that, you know, if they do in-person stuff, I could go to it. But that still does online meetings and stuff because I'm more comfortable with online meetings. But it's like, I looked just a little bit at what locally is available, and it's either completely full or completely for young people. Like, I don't really belong in any of this stuff that's available. I only looked a little bit though. I didn't really look. And obviously I didn't look today, you know, so it's just I tried to make a statement that thank you, you know, have so much appreciation for so many good things that I have found in the support group, and I just want, you know, the people who know to know how much I care and appreciate and wish them well, whether they're here, whether they're somewhere else. Like, I only want good things for them, you know, and their happiness and for them to be healthy. And The mob was like, how dare you? Just because you've had a positive experience doesn't mean people haven't had negative experiences. And they thought I was like, I don't know, trying to negate them, when in actuality I wasn't even like talking to them. I was trying to say to people who actually who actually would hear it and not get offended, it's like social justice taken too far and turned into like some sort of corruptive weapon. And it's like very sad. It's super sad to me because there is so much that needs more justice and needs, like, there are even situations that need some protesting, but this isn't one of them. Like, this isn't a big multi-billion-dollar corporation or something. Like, this is a little podunk organization that barely scrapes by, like barely gets enough donations to keep going. Like, it's very surprising to me. I guess I thought better of young people in general, and then I thought better of the LGBT plus community in general. I thought since we've all gone through so many hard things that we'd be much more kind and nice to each other. But I mean, I realize that they feel like niceness is a weakness. They feel like everything has to be a fight, even if it's with people who are supposed to be your friends. And that's really, really hard. And it's a group. It's not even just like, oh, it's two people. There's like a group of people. And they're just loud. And there's more people who aren't like that than who are, but the people who aren't like that don't want to be around that and don't have the energy, don't have the mental capacity, the emotional capacity to deal with it. It's just really, really sad. And it definitely leaves me in a vulnerable place because um I don't have a support group, and that's really hard. So I have to build myself up emotionally to dealing with meeting new people and getting to know new people and stuff, and be social, be super social. And it's also sad because some of the people in the group were like there's this one trans boy. He had just started taking testosterone. Like, he's gonna need so much support while he's going through changes and stuff. And like, the poor sweetheart, I just I can see could see him like floundering, like, what's happening? Why? Almost like a why is mommy and daddy fighting kind of a kind of a expression, just like, well, I just want us to all support each other, and then they're just like, and I'm like, you're so sweet, and they're just like steamrolling that. No, that's toxic. Wanting us to be nice to each other is toxic. Wanting people to be nice to each other is the goal. Like, the organization is just the facilitation. The organization is a made up, invented thing. The people, the community, that's the end game. That's the goal. And people are real. People are tangible. People are important. That's what I believe. And they very much do not believe that. They believe the opposite. They believe the organization's what matters and the people don't. The only people that matter are who's in charge of the organization. All the other people are just members. And they want to be in charge. And they're going to be in charge, apparently, if it legally is possible. Which it might not even be. They're making all these demands and they don't even know if that's actually even, like, allowed. It's just really, really sad. So transition's in a rough spot, but it has been for a little bit. So with this whole surgery that I need and this surgeon that's just not remotely, like not even a little as good as my actual surgeon. I wish he could do the surgery because if he could do the surgery, it'd be such a relief. But this is not a surgery that he does. So I'm stuck. I have to go with this other person that I don't feel comfortable with at all. But I will be unconscious. That is what I keep telling myself. I will be unconscious. I just need to, like, somehow grit my teeth and get through it. And I will have to find another support group and deal with human beings and grit my teeth and get through it. Like, I wish this support group that the group of rioting in the street throwing Molotov cocktail people would just leave. And yes, we would still be in a lull, but at least things would be calm and there'd be like some peacekeeping possible. And that would leave things open for people to present ideas and for things to actually be able to progress and move forward. And everybody could, actually be a team. These people do not want to be a team. They very, very much are super, like, polarized. Like, they're very us versus you kind of attitude. Like, super aggressive. And all, like, super supporting each other. Oh, we're not aggressive. You're just toxic. Like, super quick to be, like, to try to overwhelm people and suck the, like, kindness out of you. Like, they don't want you to be kind at all. They really, really are against that. Like, hardcore against that. Like, it's the opposite of their beliefs. And it's so strongly ingrained in my beliefs that that's so hard for me to comprehend. And I tried to ask questions and understand, but I just don't understand. And they didn't really answer the questions anyway. They just wanted to make fun of people. Um, they really, really enjoyed like mocking people and making fun of them together and treating them like really, really poorly. Um, which is just not something I'm interested in. Like, people need to be treated with kindness and dignity. And again, none of that changes that stuff needs to change and growth needs to happen and there needs to be like shifts in the way things are done. None of that is negating that. I think they can go hand in hand. You can be kind and things can move forward and change. I don't see why those have to be opposing concepts. I don't know. It just seems very irrational to me. But it doesn't matter because the actual point is it's it's ending. And I have to confront that and I have to accept that and I even I guess grieve that. I lost a place that was supposed to be safe. And in a world where I have not had a lot of safe space in my life, that's hard. But on the plus side, my baby sister and her spouse seem like they're gonna move here, and um, that's super super exciting for me. I'm like very very happy about that. I'm hoping that we can hang out a lot and be supportive of each other and stuff, and I can help them with moving and feel good about all of that. I'm looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to the holidays. We've been Christmas shopping, and it feels so good to be able to like think, oh, this person would really love this, and be able to actually get it. And like there was this thing that I just got for not my baby sister, my sister who's next oldest than me, and I'm pretty positive she will absolutely love it. And it's like a one of a kind object. It's not the kind of object that's mass produced. And so it's going to be uniquely special and, you know, just for her. And she will know, oh, I was thinking of her, because this is not a object you can just go to like the local store and get, you know. This is a work of art. And she'll know that I was thinking of her. She'll know exactly what I was thinking for her. And it's like I love that feeling that when a person opens a gift, not just they're excited because they like it, but they're also excited because they know it's like a demonstration of how much you care, they were on your mind. And I like that feeling, and I'm looking forward to the holidays a lot for that. It's gonna be a little hard without my spouse that we're separated being around. Like, this is the first time in a decade that we will be apart for the holidays, so that's, but it's also been the first time we've been apart, like, period, basically, almost at all. So I try not to think too much about it because it makes me sad. There's several things I try not to think too much about because they make me sad. But I am doing like therapy stuff like almost every day, and still talking to my therapist. I'm trying to make progress. I got into a job system thing, hopefully, and we'll be able to start working soon, part time. And it's, you know, a pretty low paying job and all that kind of stuff. And it's very part time, but that's also kind of what I wanted, something really low stress, low pressure. Because I do have surgeries in my future, and I do have recovery times in my future. And that's, you know, the kind of job that I needed in order for it to not be a big deal that I have surgeries coming for the next couple of years. So, yeah, there are some positive things. Um, it's just unfortunately the stuff with my transition, um, there's a decent amount of it that's not that positive. One really good thing, though, is my scars for my chest are still just healing beautifully. I mean, they're like this pale pink now. Like, I'm so grateful, A, for silicone tape. That stuff works. B, for my amazing surgical team that I love and adore, and I can't wait until I can just every other surgery besides this next upcoming one is all my me being back with my actual surgical team. So, whew, for that, because man, it is beautiful. I have sensation in my chest. I have like my recovery from top surgery is just going stellar. And my doctor's still amazing. I still am taking my testosterone. Still haven't had any issues. When my labs got done, my testosterone was still like 800. So I'm doing great. My health was great. My everything is all perfect, all great health, awesome health. So that stuff's all good. I have gained a little weight, but I always do this time of year. It's just part of like the holidays and stuff for me. Is just basically right around when my birthday happens, like all the treats start coming in, and it's treats for my birthday and treats for Halloween and treats for Thanksgiving and treat for my nephew's birthday and treat for my brother's birthday and treats for you know my adoptive brother's birthday and treats for the holidays and treats for like and all the cute little treats that come out that are like themed and stuff, and my girlfriend can't resist getting them because they're so cute. And it's just like, I don't know, this time of year every year is just sort of like very difficult to. Last year I was trying so hard to lose weight and it was still so hard because it was this time of year, and turned out I didn't even have to go through all of that rigmarole. um, but I would like to stop, like, I have stopped gaining weight, but I would like to stop being at this weight. I would like to start losing weight. And I did lose a little, but I would like to at least get back to where I was. Because where I was a lot more comfortable for me. But at least I am doing so much better with, like, I can like stretch and stuff, I can feel the pull just a little, but look at how much further I can go. Like before it was like this or something, or like maybe like this. Now it's like this. Anyway, the point is, and I can do it for longer, and yeah, it's awesome with that regard. So there's like good things and bad things. Anyway, it's getting really dark, and I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off because I finished what I was gonna say. It's just I don't know if I'm just out of touch with like how people are now, or if this is just some sort of a trend, or if it just happens to be this group of people and the majority of people are still not like that. But I felt very shocked at the behavior of stuff that was happening in trans support group and stuff. Um, like to me, the goal is still to treat each other well for like moral standard, like as human beings, being like kind to each other is the goal. Like, I don't know. Anyway, stuff happens. I hope everyone has a really good time until the next time I stream, which will probably be, I'm assuming, the 18th, because that'll be the actual 2-year anniversary of testosterone. So, yeah, I'll stream then.